Hey everybody, welcome to a very special edition of
pre-recorded Q&A.
I was like, what do I call it? It's not Facebook Live.
Well, Tom's going to be
Live.
doing a lot of traveling this month.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we still get to all of your questions. So we've been collecting them and keeping them and trying to do these quick mini episodes so that you guys still feel the love.
Word. So by the time you see this, I will actually be in Europe. So if we have any European peeps out there, we are going to be doing a meetup in London. So hopefully you guys will keep your eyes peeled. That's on our Facebook page,
so it's
right?
up on Tom's Facebook page as well as the Impact Theory page.
Nice.
And it's going to be in central London, location to be determined. And it will be June 15th at 7 p.m.
Bam. There it is.
Yep.
All right.
So,
we're ready to rock and roll.
Come meet Tom and Lisa.
That's the stuff. Ooh, I don't know that I can promise Lisa will be there. So, because my wife's going to have some serious family obligations.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we have a guest appearance.
It's possible.
Certainly me.
But we made sure to make everyone aware of when this was going to be.
All right. I just have to say that jacket is fly.
Thank you.
Well played. You look sharp today.
To bust it out. I feel like I don't wear my blazers enough. So they just like sit in the closet. But, and if you're in the Los Angeles area, we're going to be having our first Impact Hour, which is like a happy hour, but it's the Impact Theory version.
Nice.
So join us for cocktails and conversation on June 14th at the Den on Sunset in Los Angeles, also at 7 p.m. And just check out Tom's Facebook page or the Impact Theory page for more information.
Nice. Mason will be able to join us. He's not 21. Can you believe that?
Oh, no. Well, okay.
Is Mason the baby? Is there anybody else younger?
Will, maybe?
Oh, God, of course, Will.
Young William.
Whoa. Will literally, can we say it now because he's graduated? I don't know. They haven't let him walk yet, but he played hooky a couple times in the name of Impact Theory.
Yeah.
You got to respect that hustle.
I know. My mom used to call me out of school sometimes.
I don't think I ever skipped a day of school ever.
That's like impressive to me. Is that true? Like
that is true.
I would just take my own personal breaks sometimes.
I'm telling you, I'm a rule follower. Like I was so terrified to skip school.
I was very much I follow the rules, but I was like the loophole finder. So it was more so like
good strategy.
I was still within the guidelines and boundaries, but I could kind of convince. Because between like doctor's appointments, if you schedule them at the right time, you can get like a full day. Like you can get your absences returned. I knew like all the rules in and out so that like I could kind of finagle.
That's good. That's smart.
All right. So enough of that. And we will dive right into some questions. So this one comes from Zinette, Georgia, Nicholas Zorza.
Our boy from Greece.
Our Greek friend.
In the house.
How do you respond to the loved ones who seriously underestimate your potential? Do you tell them to shut it or shut them from your actions? Sometimes I want to prove them wrong with my success, but their doubt is so overwhelming that I start to doubt myself.
Wow. So let's break that up. There's two parts really. So one, I believe doubt is a gift. Let me say that again.
I agree with
that. Doubt is a gift, man. If you know you're going to do something, that you will stick with it. You're not afraid to pivot or change directions, whatever, but that you know you're going to go after the things you care about, and you're going to go after them hard, and you're not going to stop when you get tired. You're not going to stop when you get bored. You're going to stop when you're done. Like when you know that about yourself, then doubt is a gift. And so, man, I actually wish more people in my family would doubt me. At this point, my family, they don't doubt me externally. Like they don't vocalize it. They may all doubt me like crazy, but they don't do me the kindness of
letting you know.
Exactly. So the reason that is a gift is because I believe that human beings are wired to leverage two different things. One, the beauty of what you're trying to create, the people that support you and love you and want to see you succeed. Like that's amazing. That feels good. It's going to give you energy. And I think you should spend 80% of your time there. There are times, however, especially when something gets really hard, really painful, that, and I've talked about this before, but if you're doing a research on pain tolerance, the one thing that they know universally will allow somebody to tolerate more pain is anger. Actually expressing anger. So if you put somebody's arm in an ice bucket, make them hold it there, like at first it's not so bad, but then it really gets to the point where like, this hurts. And when it gets to the point where it hurts, if you want, it's something like 30% longer. If you let people go, motherfucker, and like really express like anger and rage, they'll be able to deal with that 30% longer. So there is something, you're able to marshal the body's resources when it gets really hard. So in those moments, that's when I turn to the people that hate on me, that want to see me fail, that doubt that I can do it, like, and use that in that aggressive, dominant way to really push through. And like, under no circumstances will I let that person be right. So that's incredibly powerful. Now, the second part is they're doubting you so much that it's beginning to hurt your own mind. So now here's the thing. One, if somebody is chipping away at your ability to believe in yourself, you need to distance yourself from them. Now, this gets really hard when it's family, but it's absolutely critical. To me, like if my family were bringing me down with all the love and compassion in the world, I would let them know, hey, I can't be around this level of negativity. So we have to come to an agreement. Either you're just going to stop, like keep it to yourself, or I'm going to have to spend less and less time with you. So let me be very clear what the rules of engagement are. I love you. Like, let's really make it hard. Mom, I love you, Mom. I love you more than you can imagine. I love being around you. I want to spend time with you. But the things that you're trying to do to protect me, because her intentions almost certainly are good, the things you're trying to do to protect me are actually eroding my confidence. I would, not words like this, these exact words, okay? This is the exact conversation that I would have with my mom. So it's beginning to erode my confidence. Confidence is one of the most important things that anybody needs to cultivate if they're going to go on to be successful. So I fully understand that you only have my best interest at heart, that you really want to help me and you want to make sure that I don't make a mistake that could be very detrimental to my life and my career and where I'm headed. So I understand that those are all really, really beautiful intentions, but they're having this unintended side effect. So because of that, I either need you to stop or I'm going to have to spend less and less time with you, which would be utterly heartbreaking for me. So let's agree to disagree. Let's agree that when we come together that we're going to talk about positive things, beautiful things, wonderful things. And then if she can't help herself, stop spending as much time with her. It's that simple. It's not easy. I get how painful that would be, but you have to. And when she then calls and is like, you don't come around as much anymore, you say, we had the conversation. I was brutally honest with you, what I need to protect my self-confidence. I know that you don't mean to do it, but you're still doing it and I can't be around it. So until you can figure that out, and let me tell you all the times where you were saying this, that, or the other. And again, I'm not questioning your intentions. I know your intentions are good because that's immediately where she's going to go. But I'm just trying to protect you. Like I say those things because they're not really negative. Why are you taking them negatively? This is your fault. You can hear words like that. And so you just need to be abundantly clear. I have a line in the sand. I love you. I have all the empathy and compassion, but I'm not going to be around that shit. So, and then as you distance yourself, she will change her behavior or she'll entrench. If she entrenches, you know everything you need to know about her mindset. That's toxic, whether it's your mother or not. And then if she doesn't entrench and realizes, whoa, like even if I believe to the core of my being that I'm not being negative, those things are perceived as negative. And that's one thing that you can say that'll lighten the load. Hey, maybe those things really are positive, but just so you know, I'm interpreting them as negative. They're affecting me at a visceral level as negative. So for me to keep coming around, they have to be excised from our relationship, period. Simple.
That makes sense. So, I mean, just going back to the whole doubt thing, like, I really do feel that people doubting you is very important to pushing you to that next level. Totally. Sometimes. Just because, you know, I don't know, you get to be spiteful almost, and you want to do something in spite of everything that they're saying. And
spite scares me a little bit.
Maybe not spite, but like, you know what I mean? Like where it's, you have this unshakable belief in yourself that you're going to do it anyway. So how would you go about maybe fortifying that for yourself?
100%.
Like if her family is kind of chipping away at her confidence, where should she turn to maybe create some of that confidence?
Well, so confidence is only internal, so nobody can give it to you. People can puff you up, but that's very different than real confidence. So one, humans lead with belief. So I'm about to give, this is masterclass stuff because it's a little contradictory, but they're both true. So humans lead with belief. So you have to find a way to believe in yourself even before you have any earthly right, like based on your accomplishments and all of that, to believe that you can do it. You just have to understand that you will only take the steps that you believe in. So the only thing I think people need to focus on building their confidence around and that core belief is not that you are great, but that you can become great at anything you set your mind to. Like if people are willing to believe that humans are just capable of that, like once you can believe that humans truly are capable of learning anything, that's when you can really say, I can believe that. So it's like the transitive property, right? Humans can learn anything they set their mind to. I am a human, therefore I can learn anything I set my mind to. Like, boom, there you go. That's the only belief that you need to then start taking the steps. Then the other is that confidence comes from competence. So actually getting good at something, like that's where you're going to be really confident. Like knowing that I'm good at this, like that's where you get your confidence. Now, confidence is a fascinating thing, and it will come and it will go. And you could be one of the greatest in the world, and you're going to have to constantly monitor your self-talk, constantly monitor how you're feeling about yourself, because in an instant, you could have back-to-back emotions where I'm the greatest of all time. And then you like trip and fall on your face and you're like, I'm a loser. Like, what was I thinking?
I ain't shit.
So yeah, it's crazy, but you just have to stay on top of it and manage it.
Yeah. All right. So our next question comes from Vinny Brigance from Facebook. What is something most entrepreneurs or people learn over only after it's too late?
Well, I don't know that I ever think that it's too late, so I don't want to get hung up on that. But later than you would want, for sure.
Yeah.
I really don't think most people believe they can do anything they set their mind to. I don't think they believe that any problem is solvable. And those are the two most critical beliefs for any entrepreneur to have. So you face a problem in your business, and if you believe this just fundamentally isn't solvable, then you close your mind, right? So the reason that I play the no bullshit, what would it take game is I'm trying to get past like, it's right, boom, available now in the Impact Theory store. So the reason that I play that game is because I'm trying to remind myself there is a solution. I may not like the solution. I may not be willing to implement the solution, but there is a solution. So identify like, that game is so empowering because you free yourself from the limitations of even morality, okay? And so, okay, I'm gonna free myself from morality. And I remember thinking about my sister, right? And thinking, okay, her being overweight is really messing with her emotions and it's making her feel badly about herself. So what could I do to help her get lean? Kidnap her, take her into international waters, confine her so that she could only eat what I gave her. I'm going to disguise myself because I don't want her to hate me for this. I mean, like some straight V for Vendetta shit. And if I did that, and I take her out to international waters because I don't want to go to jail for it. If I do all of that, like she could think fat thoughts all day long. She's going to get lean. It is a fact of biology, right? You can give people certain things to eat. They are going to get lean, period. So the problem is that while that would address the issue of her getting lean, I'm never going to do that. I think it's amoral. I think it's absolutely sinister. And I think that it would set her up to hate me so completely. I would never want someone to do that to me. So, but it was like in opening my mind and going, that actually would work. It's a horrible solution, but now I know this problem isn't unsolvable. It just may be a question. And so then the other answer that we came up with, or we could make food that she could choose based on taste, and it happened to be good for her. And at the time, we rejected that as well. And so I felt like hopelessly lost. I had two solutions, both of which would work, neither of which I was willing to do. One was amoral, and I could never get behind that, and also wouldn't solve the emotional problem. And then the other was so unbearably difficult that I was just like, Jesus, like, I'm not going down that path. But of course, 8 years later, that becomes Quest. And so, and it really was just getting to the point where we could believe that we could actually execute against that. So that's like, that game is so powerful. So entrepreneurs being willing to do that, being willing to step outside, just being able to step outside of all the confines of their belief system, right? And say, okay, this is solvable. Like maybe the technology is not there, whatever, but like, what would that solution look like? That gets you in a creative state. It gets you thinking like beyond your boundaries. And then you can begin, because it actually like or we could make the food. That was the second answer, but it was getting out of like all of the confines and just saying what would work. Not what we would do, but what would work. That takes you into like this different, it's kind of like meditative. It takes you into this different place where you can think from a whole new context. And that's where the interesting ideas come. And so I find that game really fun. And I love it. Like when somebody says we could never do that, like in a meeting, and you know this, I'll stop the meeting and be like, all right, right now we're going to come up with a solution. And I'll force myself like into that mental space where it's like anything is possible. Every problem has a solution. What is that? And I find that because that like so so fundamentally challenges my belief system that right there, like I can come up with crazy ideas because it's the mind. When you make that demand, like solve this problem. When you make that demand, you'll be amazed what you can come up with.
Yeah, you rise to the occasion.
100%.
So there you go.
Booms.
All right. So this one comes from B2B Training from YouTube. Is it a good plan to have other ideas besides your main plan so that if for some reason it doesn't work out or it isn't as you wanted, you can then move to your plan B straight away? Or should I keep at just one plan, pushing through it, even if it appears the avenue is closing?
Absolutely not. No plan B. Burn the boats. Now, having said that, if you're already in a job, you're making some money, there's no reason to quit your job and all of that. Like keep that, keep paying the bills. But in terms of what's that real vision that you're trying to build, don't like nickel and dime yourself with like, I'm going to have 3 things. It's like pick a horse, ride it, right? So let's just beat this analogy to death. You're in a room, there's 1,000 doors. Your job is to shut 999 of them and walk through one. So don't plan for failure because then your mind is thinking about all the things that you don't want. You get what you focus on. So if you're like hedging and like planning over here, like instead take our boy Richard Branson's path, which is I'm going to launch an airline and I'm going to protect myself from the downside. So I'm going to make Boeing agree contractually to buy it back if my airline doesn't succeed. So there's no reason not to protect yourself from the downside there. I'm a huge believer in that. But in terms of like, what is your path? What are you trying to accomplish? What is the thing that makes you feel come alive? Like do that. Like don't try to have a bunch of different things. You will be so distracted. You won't do any of them well. So pick one thing, go hard and allow for the like emotionally prepare. I may fail spectacularly in an ugly, horrific fashion, but I've done everything I can to protect my downside. I really believe in the thing that I'm doing, and I really believe that I'll learn from the failure if it comes. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to plan for it. I am literally, I have a why. There's something that I believe in so much that I'm prepared to give myself to it completely. And I think that notion of give yourself completely to it. Like I am not conflicted about what I'm trying to build here, which is why I don't mind dedicating 7 days a week. I don't mind spending an inordinate amount of time on it. I got, my wife and I did it together so that we could be growing together. Like spending money on it is just not a problem because I know exactly what I'm trying to do and I know why I'm trying to do it. So yeah, that's my answer.
There it is. And that's not to say that if it's like a multi-step plan that you can't like break it down into smaller parts if it makes it like easier to digest. But it's more so if you have that like giant separate plan that's just as big, it's, choosing the one. Yeah. All right. So this next one comes from Igor Schmidt from YouTube as well. Hey, Tom, if you were to start Impact Theory or something very similar related to interviews like this, maybe even a podcast with all the knowledge you have, but no money and no connections, how would you do it? Would you start, where would you start and how would you scale? If you don't mind, yeah, that's it.
Boom.
Yeah.
So basically in the early days of Inside Quest, that's where we were. We weren't throwing, we spent money on the set. It would be unfair to say that we didn't, but I would do it as a podcast. So start there. So I don't need a set. I would do it over the phone so that I didn't need to see them in person. Or if I really wanted them to be seen, I would do it via Skype. I would find out who do I have connections with that are interesting. So like for instance, so I graduated second in my class. Still pains me to this day. The guy that graduated first, I reached out to him. So he's gone on to have a very interesting career as a sound designer. His name is Eric Adal. He's one of the first people that I interviewed. Just a very, very kind, generous, and insanely talented human being. And I thought, okay, like it's not like he's world famous. I have a connection because we went to college together.
Right.
Reached out to him and said, hey, I'm doing this interview show, man. My whole thing is to really give you a chance to shine so that I'm not a journalist. I'm not like doing hard hitting stuff. Like it's been inspiring to watch what you're doing. And I just want to give you a chance to like bring that to the audience. So doing that, another one of the first people that I interviewed was just one of our employees and just thought he was an incredible, incredible human being. And so again, asking him questions, giving him a chance to shine, like starting with people that they weren't world famous or anything, but they were going to add value. Like I knew that they had a story to tell, something to offer, that I could learn something from them, and just go out and do it. And so in today's age where, I mean, it doesn't have to be flashy like this. You don't have to have a set. Just do it over Skype. I can't tell you how many interviews I've done where literally it's just me with headphones in and I'm talking and it's like the middle of my day and I just set aside a little bit of time for it. There are people out there, if you're legitimately moved by what they're doing and you believe in what they're trying to accomplish, that letting them know like, hey, in some small way, like I want to help with that. And I just really think that my viewers would be inspired by what you're doing. Like that's the key. And then honestly, man, and this is where everybody goes wrong, get really fucking good. Like you better be a good interviewer. Like don't, like I can't tell you, and you'd never know because what I'm practicing is being a great interviewee when I'm being interviewed. But I've been interviewed by people, they suck at interviewing. And I'm like, homie, like, come on, meow. Like put the time in, know who like, can I tell you, do you know how many people call me up and they say, how do you pronounce your last name? Do you know how many interviews I've done, Cindy?
There are so many. We say it every day on the show. It's like several times. Mr. Bilyeu.
How do you not know how to pronounce my last name? Now, I never bat an eyelash. I tell them, yay. But in that moment, I'm like, be raw.
They're like 100,000 videos. Okay,
literally.
That's an exaggeration.
That's like we're not doing our homework here. So get good. Get good. By the time I started doing an interview show, I had interviewed in a business context over 1,500 people. So I knew how to ask questions. I knew how to like take it where I wanted to go, like get nuggets of wisdom, like figure out what does this person have to offer me. And then even in a non-business context, I believe everybody's my superior in some way. They have something to teach me. And so learning how to sit at people's feet and extract knowledge, like I'd spent years and years and years developing that skill. So get good. Get good. Like, get good. Like, don't you want to be great at something?
Hell yeah.
Right? Like, I want to be great. And that means a whole lot of effort. A whole lot of effort.
Heard it here first, guys.
There it is.
There it is. So this next one comes from William M. Collette. You talk about starting the day with meditation. I've tried this, but always fall back asleep. What exactly does your process look like?
So what that tells me is this person probably needs more sleep. I'm going to guess you wake up to an alarm, stop immediately. And then, by the way, like if what you really need is sleep, that's awesome that you fell asleep during meditation, right? Yeah. Get your rest. Like, and look, there are absolutely times where I'll fall asleep on the exhale, like in through the nose, out through my mouth. And I do this hold at the end of my exhale. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I need to breathe. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I totally fell asleep. And it's usually like, there was a period there for a while, for whatever reason, I was getting like exactly 5 hours. So we all know my rule. If I get 5 hours of sleep, I don't try to fall back asleep. I get out of bed. I have 10 minutes to get out of bed. And it was just like 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours. And when I do it like a couple days, like I don't even notice, but too many times. And like during that period, I was falling asleep when the guy was cutting my hair. And I remember like, so he's cutting my hair and I'm like, have you ever been so tired where it is legitimately unbearable to keep your eyes open?
Yeah.
So I was like,
happens.
I'm closing my eyes. So I closed my eyes during the haircut and I'm like, okay, don't start doing the head bob because
then you're going to end up with a fucked up haircut.
Right? Exactly. So I'm like, okay, don't do that. But like I would feel myself, open your eyes. So I'm like, all right, dude, you need more sleep. But I don't set an alarm. So I'm like, what do I do? And I'm waking up because I'm just either I'm excited or I'm stressed. One of those two things is going on. Like if I'm overly stressed about something, I'll wake up.
Yep.
And then if I'm overly excited about something, I'll wake up.
Both things.
And so I'm like, oh God, like I need to get in a better vibe. So anyway, just sort of naturally, I fell into a better rhythm and I started getting 6 hours some nights, 7 hours, and then 5. And that's a very manageable thing. So if you need sleep, get sleep. My thing looks like this will be really fast because I've talked about this more than probably anything. I work out first. So that's like a shot of adrenaline. So I'm up, I'm awake. And then I meditate immediately after that. And I'm really trying to focus on my breath. And there's a reason that I fall asleep only on the exhale, which is that even when I'm really, really focused on the breath, I hold my breath on the exhale for I'll say 7 to 10 seconds to be conservative. It might be a little bit longer than that. So it's just long enough that if I'm really tired, I don't have anything to do other than experience the pleasure of the breath. And so that's where like I'll dip out. The rest of the time, each part of the breath cycle may be only 3 or 4 seconds. So I just don't, I'm not falling asleep there. So, and I'm really focused on milking the highest degree of pleasure out of each part of the breath cycle as possible. So it's like I'm active. So I'm trying to be calm and creative. I'm not trying to be calm and asleep. So yeah, that's a big part of it. Maybe change your posture because I'm sitting up. Like it's harder to fall asleep. It's certainly not impossible, but it's harder to fall asleep. I'm not laying down. If you lay down, forget it. Like you're gonna fall asleep. So sit up, decent posture. Yeah, that's what I do.
Absolutely. And like Tom said, if you need sleep, get the sleep. I've like fallen asleep in meditation or shavasana so many times.
Shavasana?
Shavasana.
What's
it's
that?
like the corpse pose at the end of yoga.
Corpse?
Yeah, it's like you literally lay back and it's like you're kind of in that rhythmic breath. It like ends every yoga
I'd fall asleep,
class.
100%.
Yeah, so it's like some people
yoga's
fall.
exhausting.
Yeah.
For me, because I don't do it. But I
yeah,
did it once
so it's
and I was
like
this
it's supposed
time.
to be where you let go of all the tension. So it's like you kind of like finally stretch everything out. You're finished. Like you've done your exertion, and then you just lay down. And then it's kind of like meditative. Like you can have an extended one where there's a meditation portion of it. But then for some people, it's just like you fall asleep for that 5 minutes.
What's it called again?
Shavasana.
Shavasana. Thank you.
So. Yeah, get your sleep if you need to. And the thing is, it's also totally welcome. Just, relax yourself. So our next one comes from Instagram from John Z5Z.
John Z5Z.
So what is the emotional payoff of having vague goals and a vague path to execution? Why is it the easy option? And this is in reference to your Instagram post, which said, if you want to make change, you can't be vague. There has to be specificity to your vision and your path to execution.
Yeah, so Ryan Holiday talks about this pretty profoundly in his book, Ego is the Enemy. It was one of the most powerful takeaways from that book, where he says one of the ways that people pacify themselves is by having a goal and feeling like they're doing some good in the world. Like I'm going to do this thing and they're like imagining it and really thinking about it. And because the brain can't distinguish between thinking about something and actually doing it, that you actually feel like you're doing something. Like, when people say, oh man, I really want to help people. I want to do good for the world. Like saying that out loud, telling people that you want to do that actually makes you feel like you're doing it, even though you're not. Like you haven't done anything.
Right.
And so that is scary. And that's something that I think a lot about is like, okay, like I'm not joking. When I look at my important time that I put on the schedule at a minimum from 8 to 10, and I try to make it like from 6 to 10, like that time is aggressively and only about execution. Doing things. So my list is literally prioritized by lead dominoes. What's the highest impact thing? But I also try to keep it to really painful stuff. All the things that need to be done that I don't like doing.
Like contracts.
Like contracts, right? So it is an absurd amount of hours that in my important time is just contracts, right? Because they're important because things will stop in the contract phase because it's like there's always something better to do. So like just making sure that every day I've got the time carved out to do that and the myriad other things that I don't enjoy doing, to make sure that I'm not pacifying myself because I get a chance to come on here and talk so passionately about what we're trying to accomplish. That, dude, it would be so easy to like 5 years from now just still be talking about it and like, hey, coming soon, and never actually moving it forward. I have forced that to become the most terrifying thing in my life. So yeah, don't do that. That is a very real thing about the human condition. Your mind will be pacified simply by thinking about it. So you've got to hold yourself to a standard of execution. You've got to like keep a list and say like, hey, like date it if you have to. So I put this on my list back in July. Oh my God, July. Like it's June and I'm still not done. That's madness. And so that you have that level of accountability to make sure that you're checking things off and moving on, and that it really was a lead domino. Like audit yourself. Did I choose the right things to put on my important list or not? Or did like I go nowhere from these things? So yeah, the human mind is pacified by thought alone. You're going to have to put things into practice to make sure that you're actually getting things done, and then audit yourself to make sure they actually moved you forward.
Exactly. And like doing like vision and like goal sheets. So you like have to set a buy when, and like
Have to set a what?
a buy when.
A buy
So it's
when.
like, I will have this done by X date.
Respect.
That way you know that if it's coming up, you're like, oh fuck, I have to do it. Either I have to do it or it wasn't important. So kind of setting those systems in place for yourself. And
if you're using a buy when date, piece of advice, don't change it.
No.
If you have to update it,
that's why you have to put
reason,
it in like a sheet, print it out, and like hang it somewhere or put it somewhere where it feels permanent.
And if you, for whatever reason, realize that you've missed the date, whatever, so now you need to give yourself a new date, leave the old date there and put the new one so that you can see like, whoa, I had told myself originally this is going to be done in April. Now I realize it's not going to be done until the end of June, but I'm going to leave that original April date so that like there's some shame in that.
That is smart.
Yeah, something
I
I did.
like that.
And I would put it in red. So I'm like, oh. Because on a balance sheet, red means like that you lost money. So it's like a real thing.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it for our Q&A today.
All right.
So be sure you do this.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And keep pinging me. I'll be very active socially. So when you're watching this again, I'm going to be in Europe, but I'll be super active socially still. So hit me up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care.
Oh, yeah. And send any more questions that you have for any of our future Q&As to connect@impacttheory.com.
Booyah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Peace
bye.
out.